Good evening. Welcome to State of Business on our television with me, Kavish Pereira. Let's take a look at today's headlines. Japan relaxes its travel advisory imposed on Sri Lanka from level 2 to level 1. Sri Lankan Airlines faces a loss of 12,961 million rupees in the first quarter of the year 2019, says the Finance Ministry. News in detail. President Maithripala yesterday opened the newly constructed state-of-the-art district hospital in Hambantota, accompanied by a host of local and foreign dignitaries. The hospital is built using 7 billion rupees along with assistance from the Kingdom of Netherlands, and the construction of this modern hospital was commenced in 2012 when President Sri was the Minister of Health. The newly constructed hospital includes 850 beds, modern hospital equipment, surgical operation theatre, intensive care units, outpatients departments, pharmacies, a blood transfusion centre and official quarters for both in-house doctors and nurses. In addition, a dialysis unit is also under construction at the hospital premises, which is scheduled to be completed by 2020. Moreover, during the opening ceremony, President inspected the newly provided facilities set up at the hospital for vital medical diagnosis. Addressing the opening ceremony, President Maithripala highlighted the importance of prevention and cure in the future health planning in order to build a healthy nation. Issuing a statement, Embassy of Japan today announced that the government of Japan has relaxed its travel advisory for Sri Lanka. The relaxation of the travel advisory is made considering the large-scale and rigorous security investigations of Sri Lanka, said the statement. Thus, the travel advisory is relaxed from level 2, refraining from non-essential travel, to level 1, exercising sufficient caution. Nevertheless, Japan advises its citizens to maintain sufficient vigilance during their stay in Sri Lanka, since possibilities of reoccurrence of terrorist attacks and other similar incidents of violence are probable. However, relaxation of the advisory will be an impetus to rejuvenate the tourist sector affected by the Easter Sunday attacks. Sri Lanka Tea Board announces that the national tea production in the country during the month of May this year increased by 4.84% in comparison to the tea production in May last year. Sri Lanka Tea Board in a statement said that the production increases shows in all three elevations of high-grown, medium-grown and low-grown teas. Sri Lanka Tea Board announced that the tea production in the month of May stood over 34 million kilograms in comparison to over 32.5 million kilograms in 2018. Thus, it shows an increase of 1.5 million kilograms, which accounts to 4.84% growth against the corresponding month of 2018. However, cumulative tea production for the period of January to May 2019 shows a decrease of 2.76% when compared to the same period of last year. The Tea Board also announces that tea exports for the month of May totaled 26.6 million kilograms, showing a gain of 3.5 million kilograms against 23 million kilograms of May last year. Accordingly, total revenue for the month of May 2019 of 22.1 billion rupees too has shown a gain of 3 billion rupees compared to 19.1 billion rupees in 2018. Iraq has occupied the number 1 position, followed by Turkey and Russia. Meanwhile, Iran is placed 4th, with Libya too registering a fairly significant increase in imports for the period of January to May 2019 compared to the corresponding period. The Colombo Stock Exchange, in association with the Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka, recently organized the 17th event in Jaffna Peninsula as part of the Regional Investor Forum series organized around the country. Thus, over 180 participants attended the forum, comprising a number of present and active investors in the market. The regional forums are a joint initiative of the SEC and the CSE with the aim of creating awareness on stock market investments. These investor days offer investors investment opportunities across industries and fashion a platform of present and potential investors to engage with the CSE, SEC and stockbroker firms. The Dean of the Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce at the University of Jaffna, Professor T. Welnampi, and Manager of Research at NDB Securities Private Limited, R. Raghuram, were present at the event, and Assistant Director of Capital Market Education and Training at SEC, Sunath Pereira, and the CSE Jaffna Branch Manager Thilipan Kumaraswamy too joined the broader discussion. Keep tuning in for more news after this short commercial break. Welcome back. Addressing a press briefing organized by Dushana Vidunathin today morning in order to address the mismanagements and malpractices of Ceylon Electricity Board, members of Dushana Vidunathin stated that the emergency power purchases of Ceylon Electricity Board for 2019 is even larger than the total capacity of Mahawali complex. Thus, during February and March of this year, there was a shortage of electricity and the government announced a purchasing of emergency power to restore the power deficiency. However, members of Dushana Vidunathin claim that an emergency situation is created in Sri Lanka by the present government to buy electricity for exorbitant prices through third parties without proper tender process. It was also told during the press conference that there was no need for emergency power purchasing since the CEB had no shortage electricity supply during the period of 2014, as it supplied electricity to about 98% of the Sri Lankan community back then in 2014. Members of the organization also condemned the current government's acts of cancelling electricity generation projects. Accordingly, there have been a 1,200 megawatt power generation loss due to the cancelled projects after 2015. Thus, Chairman of Helicon Consultancy, Dr. Nalaka Godaheva, speaking to Art Television Media Personnel, mentioned that these illegal emergency power purchases have become the #1 scam in Sri Lanka, which is even greater than the bond scam of the central bank.
Recently in the parliament, the cost of generating electricity and distributing in this country is about 23 rupees per unit. Now they are buying electricity from these emergency power sources at 49, more than double. And what happens as a result? One, somebody is making money. Second, CB is making losses. CB, which made 20 billion rupee profits in 2015, has been making losses since then because of these emergency power purchases. And 2019, Minister himself says the losses are going to be as high as 100 billion rupees. And this 100 billion loss is totally due to the actions of the government. And who is going to pay for that? People are going to pay for that. Minister himself says the cost of the electricity bill will go up by about 7 rupees per unit. Today, 40% of the people in this country are buying electricity at about 3 rupees per unit. So if it goes up by 7 rupees, that means your cost is going to be increased by more than double. So the bottom line is somebody is involved in a huge fraud which is bigger than the central bank bond scam, and eventually the people are going to pay for that and there will be nothing left for the country.
The Sri Lanka-Germany fast-track dialogue was held recently at the Ministry of Development Strategies and International Trade in order to address central issues faced by German enterprises operating in Sri Lanka under the Board of Investments and to facilitate new investments. Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade Malik Samaravikrama led the Sri Lankan delegation along with the Chairman of the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka, Mangalayapa, and Additional Secretary to the Ministry of Development Strategies and International Trade, WADS Gunasinghe. The German delegation was led by Ambassador of Germany in Sri Lanka, John Roth, who was assisted by Chief Delegation of German Industry and Commerce in Sri Lanka, Andreas Herengother. Some of the German companies present at the event were Eskimo Fashion Knitwear Private Limited, Go Vacations Sri Lanka Private Limited, Cramsley Lanka Private Limited, Ceylon Oxygen Limited, and Worth Lanka. The issues specific to German investors to which solutions were being sought include the registration of disinfectant products under the National Medicine Regulatory Authority, VAT refunds for several German companies, issues relating to the recovery of the tourism industry, issues relating to the cargo handling, monies owed to German companies, tender procedures, and payment of demurrages. Export Development Board and Ministry of Development Strategies and International Trade have identified suitable lands in Kaparathutta in Waligama to facilitate existing manufacturers to expand their production process and for berthing, launching and testing shipways and launching pads. Moreover, the feasibility of constructing a breakwater in Kaparathutta is also being studied at present. Thus, a 5-year plan formally launched in July 2018 identifies boat building and its related services as one of the 5 key industries to expand Sri Lanka's export basket and increase export earnings to $28 billion by 2022. Hence, these initiatives of EDB and the Ministry are products of the 5-year plan. Keeping in line with the Budget Proposal 2018, EDB, the Ministry of Development Strategies and International Trade, Ministry of Ports and Shipping, Merchant Shipping Secretariat and Industry commenced work on the development of the regulatory framework for the boat building industry by obtaining the services of Messrs. Lloyd's Register Marine covering entire value chain of the industry. The first draft of the regulatory framework compiled by the consultant and workshop was held on the 21st June at the EDB with the participation of relevant government and private sector stakeholders, including Ministry of Ports and Shipping, Ministry of Industry and Commerce, Merchant Shipping Secretariat, Ministry of Fisheries, boat manufacturers, boat operators, etc., to further improve and finalize the draft by obtaining inputs from relevant stakeholders. Draft regulatory framework will be revisited and updated with the inputs of the relevant stakeholders before finalizing, and once the regulatory framework is in place, it will ensure that the operation of the boat building and boat industry. The Mid-Year Fiscal Position Report 2019 of the Finance Ministry proclaims that Sri Lankan Airlines, the national carrier of Sri Lanka, has faced a loss of 12,961 million rupees in the first quarter of 2019. Thereby, the total debt of Sri Lankan Airlines has passed $750 million. Moreover, the Finance Ministry informs that the government is facing $375 million and 26.25 billion rupees of contingent liabilities amassed since 2014, comprising guarantees granted for international bonds and letters of comfort issued to obtain loans during the Bandaranaike International Airport closure in 2016. Thus, considering the losses of the Sri Lankan Airlines, the government of Sri Lanka is in a process of revamping their SLA along with the appointed expert committee to provide a report of policy recommendations. Keep tuning for stock updates after this short commercial break. Welcome back. Trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The All-Share Price Index gained 14.54 points to close at 5,391.21, and the S&P/SL 20 gained 19.68 points to close at 2,524.75. The turnover was 507 million rupees with over 6 million shares being traded. Next up is Forex rates. Well, that's a wrap of the bulletin for the day, signing off with a promise for tomorrow at the same time with nothing but the latest. Thank you and good night.